Let us all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America, and God bless Lakeridge. Michelle, roll call, please.
Oh, yes. Ed Whitman?
Here.
Barbara Wills?
Here. Who said that? Somebody in the back.
Mike Messina?
Here.
Bella Cariglia?
Here.
Mary Adler?
Is
Absent today.
absent. On vacation. God bless. Okay. So, may we have an approval of the open board meetings as of January the 19th, 2023? Approve?
I move to approve the minutes.
I second it.
Okay. Okay, quickly to the president's report. We have met privately with the mayor and the new township planner, Mr. Robert Hudak, at which time they were advised that the voting community in Lakeridge is very upset with the rezoning request from St. Mary's of the Lake. That we were prepared to fight this as long as we can, with letters to the editors of newspapers, as well as other elected officials and other Toms River residents who use this intersection on a daily basis. That we are concerned that the additional traffic that would be generated from new building would bring congestion to not only Route 70, but to Massachusetts Avenue. But most importantly, an increase in accidents that probably could occur at this dangerous intersection. Both the mayor and Mr. Hudak seemed very sympathetic to our position and promised they would be in touch. I received a call from Mr. Hudak, and he advised that there is nothing on schedule to approve any change in zoning for the property in question. Not now, nor in the immediate future. He also informed me that the Township Council is not, I repeat, not required to act on the request for rezoning. Now, we would like you to understand that there are many uses under rural residential that are currently allowed, such as single-family homes, which need to be 1 acre per home, schools, houses of worship, farmers markets, similar to Apple Orchard, nursery schools, and auctions. Under rural residential, the entire approximately 8.5 acres could be built upon. If the rezoning to highway business were granted, only 1/3 of the property could be used. Currently, the only exemption would be single-family houses that could still be built on the entire 8.5 acres. Now, based on St. Mary's Church selling other properties, as we've heard, and they have, and brick, they're putting up buildings that sold properties for them. We believe that they will sell this land one way or the other. one way or the other. We can delay, but we cannot stop them from selling. It is their right. So we have to be very careful for what we wish for. Therefore, we will be holding a town hall meeting on this issue in the very, very near future. Of course, you will be advised as to when that will occur. Mr. Hudak has accepted our invitation to attend. He will give us more information, answer your questions, and we will ask for a show of hands on which direction you would like the board to go. Thank you. I'm going to give you a little bit of old business. We have again had numerous complaints regarding trespassing from Walden Woods into our community, and we'll be installing cameras to determine the identity of those persons. Trespassing is a crime and will be reported to the proper authorities. If any of the trespassers are visiting any of the residents, current residents, we urge those residents to discourage the trespassers from crossing through the woods and to use the front gate as required. Michael, you have a little bit of new business.
Yes, dealing with security. Security is a measure taken to provide a sense of protection. And the safer we all feel, the happier we all are. The board was proactive in installing card swipe systems into this development. The next step in tightening security is a measure of enhancing security at the entrance of the community via gate system. The black clickers that we all have, although convenient, are the biggest breach of our community's security. They can be handed to anyone, including contractors, taxis, Ubers, etc. Although it is not the practice of all, it is somewhat happening. These clickers can also be programmed into new vehicle mirrors. The best practice of the industry, the standards are moving away to barcode or what is called RFID, radio frequency identification devices. Barcodes, which are affixed to your car window, are a bit older in technology and cannot be used at Lake Ridge because Massachusetts does not allow enough entrance space in order to do this. So that being said, the best practice and industry standards are now moving towards RFID. Barcodes, which are, the radio frequency identification system is wireless and encompasses two components. It's a radio device that sends out a signal. Your car actually acts in completing a circuit. It comes back to the tower, and then the gate access is granted. This project is under serious consideration at this time by the board. The board is doing their homework to be able to gather information and share this with all of you. This information will be shared at a special town hall meeting well before possible implementation. In fact, what we hope to achieve is to get a committee from the residents to understand the system and help guide us if we determine to go forward with this project. So we've mentioned this at least 3 times. We were considering it, then more consideration, we're doing our homework, and a town hall meeting will be held to understand how the community feels about it, as well as to give you the information about how it works. That's it for that, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Michael. May I have a motion on purchasing 2 pieces of exercise equipment, an ab-back machine, and a positional folding bench from Johnson Fitness and Wellness for $3,369.62 to be taken out of the replacement reserve fund. I have a motion to accept.
Bella, I make that motion to accept.
Thank you, Ed.
I second
Has
that
a
motion.
second. Sorry.
Bella, in terms of a discussion, I'll be reporting on that
Right.
on my vice president's report. I'll go into some detail about that, okay?
Sure enough. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. May I have a motion on the repair of the 3 bocce courts by removing all the existing wood, disposing of the old wood, and installing the entirety of the courts with new pressure-treated wood by Kurtz Courts at a cost not to exceed $13,000 to be taken from the replacement reserve fund. May I have a motion to accept?
Accept the motion, accept the motion. Motion accepted.
May I have a second?
I will second that, Bella.
All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Nay. So the motion is passed. We anticipate this project to be finished by probably the end of next week. May I have the Vice President's report, please, Michael?
Yes, Bella. I'm going to report on a couple of things. One, I'm very excited about reporting on the pool, okay? A follow-up meeting to the original town hall meeting was held on December 6th, where a draft schedule for the indoor pool was presented and distributed. The draft plan was then finalized exactly as it was presented at the follow-up meeting. Before any changes, the indoor pool was open a total of 4 hours each day with no family swim time. At this time, the pool is now open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or 7 hours. So we went from 4 to 7. Okay. During this transition 7 hours per day, we also put in a card swipe access reader to the indoor pool. Rules that we implemented: only residents will be able to swim when there is no lifeguard present, and that's from a liability perspective. Most importantly, and I'll read this twice, residents must never swim alone during extended hours when there is no lifeguard present. Never swim alone. Okay? Every resident entering the pool will swipe in. If you're coming in 2 at a time, 3 at a time, all 3, please swipe, because this is the record of the activity for the pool, so we understand exactly when the high volumes are or when there's no volume. Now, moving on, 4 hours to 7, getting better now. New technology has now been acquired and installed. The pool and spa now have automatic testing and automatic delivery system in place for both pH and chlorine. With the addition of all the technology mentioned above, we will now be looking to finish the plan for the indoor pool with a second extension of hours, leaving the pool open to 8 p.m. at night. So, the indoor pool has gone from 4 to 7 and will be 11. The tentative target date is March 1st. So come March 1st, thereabouts, you'll be getting a robocall telling you that the hours have been extended. Okay, as mentioned in the last open board meeting, evaluation of indoor and outdoor chair lift has also now been completed. And just to explain, the chairlift is an ADA requirement that you can put individuals who need help to get in and out of the pool. Both of our systems are original. Both of our systems have failed. And instead of replacing both of them at an expense, a big expense, We have found a way to save some money by getting one single pool lift that is portable. The technology has changed. So it is battery operated, and we'll buy a backup battery. So it works on a electrical motor principle with the battery. So we are, and we mentioned at the last meeting, this has, purchase order was cut for that, Michelle?
Yes.
Yes, so instead of buying two at, let's say, $14,000 each, we're buying one. It didn't make sense, it's not used all that often, but it is a requirement. So that's a savings on the replacement fund that we can use for other things. Okay, as also mentioned at the last open board meeting, new outdoor pool furniture have been purchased to replace some of our older lounges, tables, chairs, and umbrellas. Lastly, for the pool, we have contracted with a new vendor to replace the awning, and work began today on that replacement. Gotta scream sometimes. The board will now be developing a similar plan for the outdoor pool as we did for the indoor pool. There'll be more details to follow. Lastly, I'd like to mention that we are putting together a pool committee. With the extended hours, there's a little more responsibility that has to happen since we're not going to have lifeguards for all the hours. So we are looking for volunteers, and if you would like to help in that aspect for the pool, that would be greatly appreciated. Secondly, I'm reporting on the gym. As mentioned at the last board meeting, a report was run showing that there are approximately 300 residents who presently use the gym. That has a card swipe on it, so we can run the report. Again, that's the importance of using the card swipe, right? A survey tool was developed by Norm and the committee members to better understand the utilization as well as what residents would like to see in the gym. This survey was distributed already, and actually today's the last day for that survey. It came out in the views. Norm and the committee will be reviewing these survey results within the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, this new committee has come forward with recommendations for the replacement of a couple of pieces of equipment which were mentioned by Bella already. These recommendations have been acted upon and purchase orders have been cut exactly as the committee had recommended. Here's where the input from the residents is greatly appreciated, and then we can give the residents what they want. Bella, that's the end of my vice president's
Okay,
report.
thank you, Michael. In Mary's absence, Michelle will give us the treasurer's report.
Hello, everyone. So Marty put a cheat sheet together for me, I will admit, and thank you to Marty. I don't see him here, but for the 12 months, we're going to get the December report, actually, the end of the year, because you didn't have a December meeting, and January's financials are not in yet. So for the 12 months ending December 31st in 2022, the net income was about $93,000, better than budget by that amount. Principal factors in the variance were a surplus carryover from 2021, which was just over $54,000, and closing contributions. It was budgeted for 47 homes to be sold, and 67 were sold in 2022. Expenses were a bit better, right on budget. Some things were over, some were under. Property management and professional fees were under budget a bit. Lower management personnel expenses, and partially were offset by higher engineering and architectural expenses. We do have a lot of projects going on in the community. Security expenses were under budget by about $15,000 due to lower guard service costs, partially offset by higher gate maintenance costs. Swimming pool expense were over budget by about $24,000 because of increased pool hours and higher pool equipment repairs. There were quite a few repairs last year, and Sundays were open when they were not budgeted to be open, so that added to some of that. Snow removal costs were about $11,500 under budget for the year. Trash and recycling were about $12,500 over because of a shortfall in the township reimbursement costs. The favorable variance will carry over into 2023. The budget anticipated a carryover surplus of $56,000. So as you start 2023 with a carryover, the surplus is better than $37,000 better than budget. And then the balance sheet consolidated as of December 31st, 2022, cash and investment funds totaled approximately $2.9 million, most of which were in the replacement fund. and it had a balance of approximately $2.3 million. The funds are invested in CDs insured by the FDIC, in money market funds, and some funds are held in cash. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good job there, Michelle. Because we like to hear plus, plus, plus. Ed, Secretary's report. Ed's going to stand up for this. I have to raise this to the sky. You take care of it.
Friends and neighbors of Lake Ridge, good evening, and thank you for coming. I have two issues to discuss today. The board has reviewed and hopefully rationalized our committee structure and defined more accurately the difference between standing committees, clubs, and groups. So the result of that work will appear in the March issue of the Views. So I suggest you take a look at it, and it explains briefly why these have to be distinct categories of our Lake Ridge activities. My second issue, I've been asked by my colleagues on the board to address an issue of concern for all of us, and that is the need for civility. The simple courtesy and respect for each other that must be the basis of our cooperation as a self-governing community. In 3 separate instances recently, members of your board and of the management and staff have been berated in the harshest terms over complaints that were neither specific nor factually informed. While such incidents are rare, for that very reason they are all the more hurtful. It must be understood that personal attacks on neighbors are unacceptable. There are regular opportunities for residents to meet with board members to voice their concerns and complaints. That we are temporarily members of the board should not diminish the fact that we remain neighbors concerned with the best interests of all the members of Lake Ridge. It is that concern that inspired us to stand for the board in the first place. The quality of life at Lake Ridge depends on all of us maintaining and insisting upon civility and mutual respect. These social virtues are especially important on those occasions when we do disagree over issues affecting our community. But when discussed in respectful dialogue, such differences usually provide, excuse me, such differences usually do provide the elements for practical consensus. That's the genius of democratic governance. We can be of service to our community if we remember that we are and must remain friends and neighbors. All of us seeking our common good through established political process. Hostility, especially when directed at volunteer members of the board or management and staff, giving so generously of their time and talents, corrodes the very political process and spirit of friendship on which our community depends. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ed. Very eloquently said. And now the Director at Large report.
Good job, Ed. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming. Have you heard about the Neighborhood Watch? It's been around for years. With the guidance of the Toms River Police Department, we can do this too. Once we take these simple steps, you may be amazed at how easy it is to organize the program and what a difference it will make. We have to form a small planning committee, then decide on a date and place for the initial neighborhood meeting. Contact as many neighbors as possible and ask them if they'd be willing to meet to organize the neighborhood watch group in our area. The neighborhood watch coordinator and block captains will be responsible for organizing meetings and relaying information to members. I have a contact info, that will, from the police department, that will train the members on home security, reporting skills, and for information on local crime patterns. For those residents interested in joining the watch, the Toms River Community Affairs Bureau hosts a monthly neighborhood watch meeting at police headquarters on the first Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. I will be attending this meeting tomorrow night for more information. Anyone interested can also attend. It will be held at the Toms River Police Department on Oak Avenue. I'll bring more information to see if it's something we would want to consider. Recently, 4 homeowners met with the board. These ladies came to us with excellent ideas for our community. They are not a club or a committee. They are volunteers to work with Erin, our social director, to bring the community together. The first event they had was a fireside chat with hot chocolate that received great reviews, and the next one is scheduled for February 24th at 2 p.m. at the HOA fireplace. There'll be in the View for the next publication. There's an article in there explaining what it's all about. Okay.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Good information. There are no committee reports at this time, but the manager's report, Michelle?
Okay. I'm just going to talk briefly about 2 of the largest projects you have going on in the community in 2023. One being your monuments. When you enter the Route 70 entrance, you have 3 monuments, one on each side, one in the middle. They have been failing over the years, and if you took a good look at them, they're cracked. The signs are coming apart. So the board had gone out, we've mentioned this in the past a couple of times, but the project is set to begin. It should begin within the 1st or 2nd week in March, as long as the weather cooperates. The monuments will be restored, and there will be new signs put on, because once the current signs come down, they cannot be put back up. They won't make it. If they would, they certainly would do that. You'll see a lot of the work out there. That's why I'm mentioning it now, in case the date comes sooner. But you will also see a lot of the landscaping in that area, because it has to be pulled back for work to be able to be done. So there'll be some fresh landscaping in the area once it's complete. They think about 6 weeks for that to be complete, again, due to weather. And then cladding. We've mentioned cladding a couple times here also in some of the project that's being done. That's your biggest project this year. And if you look at the front entrance pillars and all around the clubhouse and the annex, it's really what the stoneware is. They call it cladding. Well, over the years, some of it becomes jeopardized. So you'll also see, especially along the back, where pieces have come out. You'll see pieces on the ground over at the annex, in the entrance. So it's been looked at. An engineering firm came out and took a really hard look at, what's here, why is it happening, looked at the drainage. They did some aerials of the area to find out where the drainage is, do you need more, etc. So that's a really big project. The engineers will come back to the board with, they did come back actually with some options. If you want to continue with the cladding just in the front, do you want to go to vinyl in the back where it's not as visible? So the board's working on that, and then that project will go out to bid. So we'll keep you abreast of what happens once that goes out to bid. But you'll see a lot of that happening also once the weather turns. So there are 2 very big projects that are coming up for 2023. And again, I just really wanted to give kudos to Erin and Mary, who's not here, and the volunteer group that have worked with Erin, the game show night, as we talked about, and now the fireside chat, and New Year's Eve, she's really done a stand-up job. The prosecutor's office was here the other day. They came in full force. 5 of them were here. There was a great turnout, and Erin got a lot of positive feedback about that. So she's working on things like that to introduce to the community. So we hope you'll attend if you didn't get to see it. And we will record them moving forward. Prosecutor's office didn't really favor that this time, but we will try. We'll keep trying as they come in and talk to us, so you can all see it if you can't make it. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, this meeting is adjourned. The business portion of the meeting will be followed by a question and answer period from up to 45 minutes. Each resident will be limited to 3 minutes. Before we open the question and answer segment of our meeting, I repeat every month, please remember that members may not use profanity, threaten anyone, slander any person, or act in any disruptive manner. If that should occur, we will ask that you take your seat. If you choose not to, we will ask you to leave. If you do not leave, we will adjourn the meeting. Another reminder, this segment is for questions and answers only. If you have any complaints or points of discussion, please utilize the concern sheets or meet with members of our board on the first Friday of the month by calling the management office. And now, questions and answers. Please come to the mic. Anyone that has a question.